All righty. Post Super Bowl. Anyone hungover? Pro Football Doc podcast, Sports Injury Central. And I don't mean hungover or drunk, but Super Bowl hangover. They talk about that. Someone in the room said we should move Super Bowl to Saturday to have Sunday. Well, I think that's the league's plan. Get it to President's Day, and Monday will be a holiday when they go to 18 games. Anyways, welcome to the Pro Football Doc podcast, Sports Injury Central podcast. We'll cover a lot of football, and then I think we'll put our toe in the water on basketball, which is obviously the big focus now, etc. Welcome to the show.
We were kind of dove in a little bit, right?
Yeah, well, what happened to your mute button, Taylor? I thought you don't have your headphones and you were going to use the mute button a little more today. Yeah, you forgot. Yeah, you didn't listen. And Jacob's here and Justin's floating around in the background.
You're a machine, Doc. You're not tired of radio appearances. You're not tired of talking Super Bowl and, is Jalen Hurts shoulder okay? How's Mahomes going to look? You didn't get that question a million times on Radio Row?
I did, but it was actually okay because I didn't overbook. Look, Sean Merriman was there, lights out. He's a machine. I mean, boom, 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 3 days in a row, like nonstop. He must have done like 50 of them. He was crazy. I mean, good for him. Yeah. He's a hard worker there. I did my usual serious stuff, some Sports Grid stuff, Fox Sports Radio stuff, the Jim Rome stuff, the Outkick stuff. The ones that I've been doing all year, I did them in person, and I like meeting with these guys. On the Fox Sports Radio, I mean, it was an early morning, but it's fun to get with Brady and LeVar and Jonas Knox in person. That's kind of what I enjoy doing, getting with people in person. Rich Gannon, his stuff in person. Jim and Pat at Sirius. I didn't do the car wash per se, although when I was there, that's downside of, well, I guess upside too. Downside of being pseudo recognizable, not a lot of Asians in the room with the big round head, but also I wore the 6 score shirt and it made me pseudo more and bright red, right? Yeah. I mean, so I did end up getting about, I don't know, a dozen or so flyby interviews like, hey, do you mind? I didn't get a PR person. We didn't schedule anything. We just did the ones that we were going to do. But, we try and be, it was fun meeting some people, doing some stuff there.
Yeah. You need Taylor in your whispering, oh, this is this guy from here. So you don't have to do that on the fly. Oh, hey buddy.
It's like, no, it was fine. It was fine. I mean, the problem is with the NFL name tags, the print on their name is so small. It's like, I want to be like, oh, what's your name? You need virtual name tags on like in people's foreheads so that you can like look them in the eye and then see
Google Glass or something.
Yeah, there's something like, I don't know. I'm sure they've invented that. But no, it was fun and interesting. I mean, look, coming out of the Super Bowl, I mean, we weren't too bad. I mean, look, I did kind of get tired of Jalen Hurts is still injured. Did he look injured on Sunday? I mean, come on. I mean, that was game script, 2 blowouts, maybe a little bit of early rust. He was the MVP. Okay, 1 fumble, but he was the MVP if the Eagles won. I mean, he looked great, right? 300 plus yards passing, and I don't know,
3 rushing touchdowns,
15 rushes, a bunch of yards. I mean, I wasn't worried about it. I mean, but the example I kept going to is Tyreek Hill in 2019 played after 5 weeks. He's at 7, and come on. And Tyreek was a dislocation. We were way more worried about Patrick Mahomes than Jalen Hurts. And we weren't that worried about Patrick Mahomes, although re-aggravation is the issue. Right. And you guys did a great job getting me video because I was there with my son and, updating the 6 score, slightly lower, but no question returning to play. It's interesting there. There were some Chiefs fans. There were some Eagles fans. As soon as he got hurt, oh, he's done. The Eagles fans, they
wanted that. That's what they
happy. Wanted. I had fun. I mean, I made a mistake. I don't mind talking to people, and like the Devontae Smith catch on the sideline, I was like, yeah, that's not a catch, right? And then I was like, ooh, I told that to the Eagles guy. He's going to argue with me and be mad. I wasn't I wasn't even wearing a Chiefs shirt. Okay, I was wearing the red six square. My son had Mahomes on.
Yeah,
I wasn't even trying. I
If
mean, I
you're
wanted
with
my
or
son.
against- If you're with, you're against with their fans, right? So
Oh yeah, I mean, anyone from Philly, they're just a little bit crazy. Where are you from, Taylor?
I lived in Philadelphia for 10
Okay. Oh, I forgot that.
he's adopted the West Coast, so he's
No,
I was
not
born a
as
little
crazy.
bit outside
no,
of
I
there.
get it. That's why it's called fans, right?
Yeah.
You're fanatics, and then they thought they were getting jobbed on that late Andy Reid challenge.
Yeah.
Remember that with didn't
Yeah.
allow them to match, and
Where'd you stand on the Dallas Goddard? You thought that was a catch?
first view, I thought lifetime.
Yeah.
I thought you should challenge that. It was really close.
Yeah.
I thought you should challenge that. But when they showed the replay and the thing, it did look like the right toe was still on the ground when he started completion. And I said, no, that's not an overturn. That's going to stand. And in real time, the second Nick Bolton touchdown was not even close.
Well, yeah, that was wasting my time when you're looking at that stuff. He didn't even move. He didn't even move. It was boom, right, sudden impact.
Well, I mean, but they're Chiefs fans around me.
Yeah.
said, but they let it stand, so it's going to be hard to overturn. I'm like,
not if it's clear.
No, they let it stand on the chance that they're wrong to let the play out. That's why they let it stand. And so that's one of the reasons I don't love that rule. There's no you blow the whistle and it's dead and you can't change it, right? And they don't want to take away a touchdown in case it was a fumble. That happened to us once in Denver. It was clearly a fumble when Denver was driving to win the game, and it would have won the Chargers the game. It was clearly a fumble, but Ed Hockley blew the whistle early and said, "No, it just isn't a fumble because I blew the whistle."
Can't be
That's the worst rule.
Yeah, it can't be that.
So people, they're taught to swallow their whistle. Anyways, I'm sure we'll get into refereeing. Speaking of refereeing, out at the Super Bowl, I had a nice chat with Dean Blandino, and I told him, when I tell people what I do, I said I used to say it was the medical Mike Pereira, but now it's the medical Dean Blandino / Mike Pereira. And he liked that. He said he'd come on the podcast. We'll bring him on sometime. I think it'd be some interesting comparisons with what we do and what he does. Obviously a very nice guy.
You could ask about the holding call too at the end, Doc. What were your thoughts on that? I really
holding call. I mean, look, it's a tough pill to swallow if you're an Eagle fan. Yeah. It's a tough pill to swallow for any fan. It was technically holding.
It was holding, yes.
Bradbury admitted it.
Yeah.
Correct. Yep.
It's a tough time to not swallow your whistle. I see both sides of this. And in some ways, even though I wanted to see my son happy and he was happy, it almost would have been better to give the Eagles a chance and win it on the field.
Yeah.
Look, was it holding? Yes. And are you supposed to make the call? Yes.
Had they been calling it all game?
No. I mean, there wasn't a single offensive holding the whole game. So it's almost like they decided to let him play.
You don't think what Bradbury did happened on basically every snap near the line of scrimmage like
offensively and defensively, it was happening on both sides of the ball.
Just consistency. That's all you want. But
and I get it was tough. It was a tough one to do. It's almost like, given the circumstances, I almost wish McKinnon would have scored the touchdown, and let's see if the Eagles can match it. Right? I mean,
who was the guy a couple years ago? Was at a Super Bowl that I think was it Chris Carson that fell in?
Yes.
Tried to stop and then he turned around. Oh no, they're letting me in, and then fell in the end zone.
He got dragged in.
That's right. That's right. They stood him up and drug him in.
He knew what to do there for sure.
Yeah.
Just kind of lackluster ending for a crazy back and forth game to just have them run out the clock and just kick it.
Not lackluster for the one guy who destroyed his TV. Did you see that on the internet?
No.
That was staged.
There's always someone.
That was staged.
That was staged.
Yeah. Watch the people jump back like a gunfire went off when he was punching. They were ready for it. It's for views, Doc. Even me and Jacob are past this. We don't know this anymore. That you got people sit around before a game, be like, if we break a TV, we're gonna get 1 million 1 point views, which is what it is right now. Like we don't think like that, but that's what we just
It's the
think.
best time in history to break a TV. They're all like $200, $300. So
And every
get a
single
new one.
outlet picked up that video. Look at the Eagles fan getting mad, but
I mean, the only thing I don't understand is about it is if it was on the holding call and he did that to his TV, I would get it. It was on the field goal. It was a 27-yard field
You
goal.
shouldn't be mad already. It's done right there. Yeah,
it was
a
over.
27-yard field goal. I mean, come on. I mean, that's like 98% make. I mean, at least greater than 95. What was the surprise? I mean,
at least do it on the last play would have fallen short.
Yeah,
nobody even touches the ball.
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows if it's real or not?
People punching the TV, and then they finally regroup, but they plug it out casually. They take it outside and they throw it away. It's like, well, think about that stuff before you do it. It's like have a backup TV or a broken TV next to you. I don't know. Like, it just seems weird. Like, that's a staple of your house. Like, I don't know. Let's play better.
Since we're in the weeds, let's talk about everyone slipping on the grass.
Yeah. Ooh, look at that transition.
2 years of grass, $800,000. I'm rolling in and out for Arizona to not play on turf. We've talked turf injuries and grass injuries. Slipping obviously better for less injuries, but
first of all, the slipping might have saved Patrick Mahomes.
Probably saved Devontae Smith too, right?
And maybe Devontae Smith, yes. Yeah. So, but the slipping also saved Lane Johnson.
No pass rush
from a big pass rush. And it also probably saved the Chiefs and Mahomes with the Eagles with 70 sacks this year and no sacks with the slick turf. Here's what I don't understand. Look, it was a safer game. There weren't a lot of injuries for such a hard-hitting game. And that part is good. However, I'm just asking this question. Maybe they did. I don't know the answer. I get is 2 years in development. And it doesn't bother me at all that it was developed with the USGA. It's not golf grass because they helped develop it, right? I mean, it's they should know about grass, right? The USGA. So that's fine. But do you really want to play the first national football game ever on this type of grass and have it be the Super Bowl? Just a question.
No test run, yeah.
Just a question, right? I mean, who knows? And this is I've been to State Farm, whatever you want to call it, stadium. Oh, maybe a dozen is pushing it. Okay, yeah, but a bunch of times.
Yeah,
I've never been there with the roof open. And with the roof open at sunset, it is, quote, the desert, right? The desert just doesn't mean hot. Desert means arid. It gets chilly at night.
It does get cold, yeah.
And there was some dew, like dampness. And I think that made the grass more slick a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the open air dome. And, was the slipping the grass itself or the little bit of dew? I don't know.
Or was it the paint? They kept bringing that up. And Greg Olsen kept bringing that up. He kicked the game-winning field goal on the paint.
Look, okay. Let me ask this question.
Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just bringing it up.
This is the NFL, okay? You don't think they painted the regular grass too? Maybe not a heaviest coat, but they made that thing pristine green.
No, that's natural green, dog. That occurs in nature.
I mean, they paint the grass too now. I mean, maybe not as heavy as a coat for a logo kind of thing. And, and I don't think the green paint's made out of different substance than the white or the red paint or whatever it is. Okay. And there were plenty of times, including a kickoff, they were slipping on regular grass. That was no paint on that. Jake Elliott
slipped. Yeah. Still kicked the touchback, so it didn't affect him. But
but I mean, look, I get the questions, but that's my point. If I get there's a lot of traffic in there for Super Bowl, setting up and practicing, and Rihanna,
the stage, although she was like middle of the air, so they didn't really need much of a stage.
Oh, there was a stage on the ground.
But
they picked this grass apparently because it's really good with wear and tear, which is what that whole week before this game did, right? All the rehearsing, all this stuff. So that's why they picked this grass. But like you said, why are you choosing the biggest national stage, 106 million people, to debut something? That's not usually a thing you pick, right? If you got something new, you don't pick something like this.
I mean, I'm gonna go out on a limb here because I'm not that in the know, and you know me, I can't help myself on analogies here. Did Rihanna debut any new songs?
Nope, she hasn't had any songs in years.
Okay.
She debuted a baby.
Okay. That's my point. Okay. You're going to have Rihanna sing at the Super Bowl, but are you going to have her sing a song that you have never performed before in terms of audience and debut it, or that's brand new? No, you want her to sing all this. Like, I recognize a couple of songs, so I was kind of proud of myself. Some of them I didn't know. That's why I was on a limb. Like, I don't think there were any new songs. I wasn't sure.
You're good. No, you're good.
I wasn't sure. Why are they doing that with the grass?
Yeah. No,
don't you want to debut the grass somewhere else? I mean, would you let a singer sing a song that they've never debuted before at the Super Bowl? I mean, you do that on Apple TV, here's a debut. You don't do that at the Super Bowl. Why'd you do that with the grass? That's just a question. It's just a question.
Do the players not notice switch cleats just from warming up? I mean, I know you got full speed in warm-ups, but do you not know what cleat?
Well, they also get a walkthrough during the week. But the only point that I would make with a 4:30 kickoff, which is really 4:45, and sunset and then the dew, that may have changed the slickness, right?
A lot can change in an hour, 45 minutes.
Yeah, that's all. I mean, was it Buffalo artificial turf in the snow slippery? No, but I do think it made it harder to generate a pass rush.
Help Lane Johnson with the inductor,
If I would have known the refs were going to swallow their whistle and that the ground was slick, you would have told everyone to bet the heck out of the over. Right? I mean, with no holding penalties and no generated pass rush, I mean, there's
you were there. You were there, so I blame you like a couple percentage points.
Well, I was with my son. I didn't go on the field.
You didn't do a test run on the field before?
And look, even if they let me on the field, I don't think I can generate enough speed to test out the slickness. Okay. I don't think you got to be moving fast for the grass to be slick. Okay. I don't think I would have slipped walking across it or as fast as I could run or jog.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have changed anything.
A couple points we saw just on video I found interesting how, I mean, not only no holding calls, but kind of the rest of the stuff seems to go out the window for Super Bowl. They let everything go. Trent McDuffie, no head check after him getting the shoulder from Jason Kelsey. I don't know if you saw that as clear on.
I saw that. You guys sent me the replay on that. And then I saw the social media. Oh, Jalen Hurts bounced the back of his head off the turf.
Grass is better than turf for that. Correct.
Yeah. And grabbed at his head and asked to be helped up and wasn't checked. Here's the thing on that. I mean, I get wanting to be safe, but he didn't play like he had a concussion afterwards. But it's a question, the interruption in the game for he hit his head. If the criteria is he hit his head and he has to be checked every time, I think someone's coming out almost every play for a play or two or three. I don't know how you handle that. I mean, losing Jalen Hurts for a key play down the stretch, but I get it. If there's any outward signs and this, that, the other, you gotta check them. So it's hard, one check too many and you complain, one check too few and you complain.
Yeah, it's a fine line you got to walk.
It's a fine line to want to walk, but even Pacheco got rocked.
That was the one too. I mean, Gardner Johnson, heck of a hit, but he's leading with the crown. It's not head up like they're teaching to tackle these days. It's kind of launching with the helmet. So if he goes helmet to helmet with him, it's a clear penalty, but he hits him in the chest. So
he hits him in the chest. Yeah. So he hit the ball and in the chest / abdomen and it was okay. But that was a big hit.
I want to mention something about the field just real quick. The Fiesta Bowl was played at State Farm, and they actually used the field for that game. And that was the game Kendre Miller, the TCU guy, hurt his MCL in that field as well. So I don't know about the conditions, how bad they were that game, but
they did play on that grass for the Fiesta Bowl.
On that grass, before on that this year.
Okay. What time of day was that? Was it night?
Fiesta Bowl.
Was the roof open? I don't know. I'm just
that's what I was just looking through it. Yeah, that's
That's an
interesting.
interesting point.
The next Super Bowl will also be. There's only two stadiums that have the retractable slide out grass. They'll be going to the next other team next year. The Raiders are the only team that asked, so have that. So I don't know what they'll do
at
here.
Allegiant.
Yeah, but I'm sure they won't be debuting an entirely new grass before the game.
Yeah.
was there sponsorship money in that debut? And just a question. I don't know. Now we're really get full circle. Now we're getting into the weeds again.
Yeah,
that's all my fault. Yeah.
Final thing, wrapping up. Juju, we were saying all week, the knee, we weren't exactly sure what it was, but not really a concern. He was on the exercise bike in the AFC Championship. He had 7 catches, 53 yards. Big part of it. Kadarius Toney, limited action, but was obviously looked 100% when he was out there.
Caught a touchdown and punt return 65 yards.
Yeah.
There was quite the army of people blocking for him. I don't know how that punter got in.
Yeah,
Force him out of bounds.
Make it in. That would have been the only punt return in Super Bowl history. That would have been great.
Yeah,
only punt return touchdown.
Yeah, it was good. Let's see.
Let's talk Brock Purdy real quick. We're going off season.
Before we get to that, I don't know. Super Bowl's fun. The sun, blah blah blah. Long game.
Yeah.
I didn't see a single commercial. I don't know that I missed it when you guys saw commercials.
As a few.
But so in front of me was a couple, and I tweeted about it. Guy dressed in he's not a 30-some-year-old guy dressed in Mahomes, and his wife with an Eagles hat and a green Eagles type T-shirt. And I wasn't sure if they were married or dating, whatever. They were at the game. They were right in front of us. Mm-hmm. I said, "So, what's with this? And what's your wager? You got to have something. You guys, you're a couple, right?" And they're like, she turns around and she's like pregnant, and she goes, and they go, "The wager is the fandom of the baby." So whoever won, they agreed that they would make the baby a fan of that team. So instead of mom wanting Eagles and dad wanting the Chiefs, they had agreed ahead of time that whoever won the game, they'd make the baby a fan of that team, which is kind of funny.
That is good.
I would have gone with the underdog.
Years though, my dad tried to do that to me. I was a Dolphins fan in my baby pictures because he's a Dolphins fan, but you can escape it sometimes.
Are you shocked, Jacob, at that?
That Taylor talked his way out of
that Taylor didn't listen to his dad.
Not at all.
Are you shocked?
I'm just seeing it like, okay, Mahomes won this, right? He's gonna be baby's gonna be a Chiefs fan, but you got an Eagles fan, which I'm assuming her family's maybe also Eagles fans. They're gonna win.
Yeah, they're gonna win it over. I also hope that wasn't part of the baby's college fund to go to that game. They got time to make it back, but
it's so funny about that too. I just make observations, right? And so I'm walking around the stadium, and I see, more Eagles fans than Chiefs fans, and I thought it would be more Eagles fans than Chiefs fans. Why? The Eagles last went 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. The Chiefs went 4 years ago and 2 years ago.
Right.
How many times can you go to the Super Bowl and afford it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you just, and that goes to the arguments of some of the college football playoffs. If you're an Alabama or Ohio State or whatever fan, are you going to go to the first playoff game, or are you going to wait for the national championship, right? I mean, you can't go to the first one, the round of 4 semifinals, just time off work, money. I mean, you got to pick and choose.
There might be Phillies fans that went to the World Series too. World Series and Super Bowl in the same year. So.
Yeah. So anyways, but I just look at it as less recent and also perhaps bigger metropolitan area as opposed to Kansas City.
Right.
So naturally a few more. So I expected it to be 2/3, 1/3, and then, but looking around, at least from my seat, lower bowl seat in the corner, it looked like behind the Chiefs sideline, there was definitely more red and pretty healthy red. But behind the Eagles sideline, definitely green. And that would make sense. That's where all the player and family 10 tickets are and this, that, the other. But then from the upper deck, if you took out the red seats because it's red background, for Arizona Cardinals, there seemed to be definitely more green up there. And then I got a lot of Twitter stuff like, oh, because are you saying that they can't afford it or this? I was like, no, it's just an observation. And you got to understand the lower bowl seats are more team friendly, sponsored, this, that, the other. And so they're going to be like that. The upper bowl is more of a free for all, scalpers, right? And there probably were more Eagles fans. It wasn't a comment on anything else.
Yeah.
But you're always trying to say something on Twitter. Everyone's forcing you to pick a side, putting words in your mouth.
I mean, I like the Eagles, right? I mean, I was lucky enough to go to the Eagles Super Bowl victory party in Minnesota. I've had some friends on there. I still have a few. I mean, I'm not against the Eagles. I just was
You're just not for them, which is a key difference.
In Philly, that means you're against it.
Yeah, maybe. Here's where I was for Philly. I met with some people and it was fun, and happened to be over at the Fox home hotel, and they had a nice setup, and Davis had fun and playing foosball or giant chess or arcade or papa shot, cornhole. I mean, well, I had some meetings, whatever, he's there, and it was nice there. But then we left right as they were serving lunch. Started late breakfast, and they served Kansas City barbecue, barbecue beef or something, and they served Philly cheesesteak sandwiches. And I did vote for the Philly cheesesteak. I thought the Philly cheesesteak was better. So I'm not against Philadelphia.
Right there,
I'm not against Philadelphia.
I do want to add to
but I did notice this. Was I wrong that when they went around the stadium, and I don't know if they showed this on TV, and they showed celebrity, they showed quite a few that were linked to the Eagles. And when they went to the Chiefs, they just went random. They showed LeBron James,
Adele,
Adele, and LeBron James, right? I mean, there wasn't as many tied in, celebrities.
Not every team's got a Bradley Cooper.
Yeah.
There's not that many from Missouri, though, right? Yeah. Philadelphia has everybody from every walk of life, culture-wise, I'd say.
No, I just, whatever. It's all good. Go ahead.
What do you want to throw into
this? What I was going to say. They've lost the MLS Cup. I know you guys don't care about soccer. So the traveling, the fans, everything, there's a lot of them over in there. That's 3 straight championships that they've lost, but also had to travel to and fill up majority of the stadium.
Why do you say we don't care about soccer?
Not as much as me. MLS soccer. There's a comparison.
I went to a World Cup.
No, I know you did. Yeah. You helped Chelsea football team.
I went to Chelsea game. I went to a World Cup final. France, Italy, the headbutt game.
Yeah.
Berlin.
You're right.
Yeah, anyways. So what you got next, Jake?
As we get in the offseason, we'll let's talk Brock Purdy real quick. They're saying RFC fully torn UCL in the championship game. Got a bunch of opinions. He's going to go have surgery the 22nd, meet the doctor the day before, and then surgery on the 22nd. And it went from a 6-month recovery to a 5-month recovery because they're saying beginning of training camp, he should be good to go in late July.
My thing is, what changed? You had the MRIs before. It's not like the doctor examined him and said, no, I think it can be 5 months. He hasn't even met the doctor yet. How did it go from 6 months to 5 months? I mean,
he's healing right now.
Optimism.
He's sitting around healing, Doc. It's getting better every second.
I mean, is it impossible that he'll be ready for training camp? No. Is it impossible that he'll be ready week 1 and good to go? No. Is it guaranteed? No. That's my point. It's not guaranteed. Like maybe as you get a little further along and everything is good, you can get there. But until then, my boy John Lynch might get some more gray hairs. You're the 49ers guy. You want to go into next season without a guarantee at quarterback?
No.
I mean,
what's your season theory? You have a theory.
I like your name you threw out, Doc.
He's going to be the quarterback, or I'll say it because I already opened it up now.
Well,
tampering.
Well, here's what I said.
Yeah.
As I was on Radio Row, and I was saying, it's a quarterback conundrum for them. They don't want Jimmy G.
Right. He doesn't want them. He's gone. Yeah.
He's mutual.
Yeah.
But he's healthy.
Yeah.
Trey Lance is not healthy yet. I mean, he is not healthy yet. Will he get there the next month or two? Maybe. And will he be 100% mobile? We hope so. But, he'll be in the 80s or 90s. Is he going to be 98 or 100? Don't know yet. And also experience. And the other thing you have to look at Brock Purdy is he did very well this year. But young quarterbacks have to develop. And you can't tell me, I haven't studied film, but you can't tell me his playbook was as expansive as a veteran, right? I mean, he had a lot of playmakers. Well, off seasons when you develop more, and they want Brock Purdy, but in the best case scenario, you can't really develop him this off season. Okay, you can film study, book study. It's not quite the same thing. So I think that's a potential issue too. So I said all week in Radio Row, I'm not saying that they're going to bring Tom Brady out of retirement. I'm not saying they're going to sign Aaron Rodgers, but I think it would behoove them to bring in somebody. And at the time, I was like okay, so they have Josh Johnson, but like a Ryan Fitzpatrick type that can carry you for a little bit. And I was thinking that because, just name that came up, but I was like, the way it works in the NFL, it's like got to be someone that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I said, maybe it's Matt Ryan, because Kyle Shanahan, Matt Ryan, under Kyle Shanahan, Matt Ryan was a league MVP the year Atlanta lost to the Patriots, the 28-3 game. Matt Ryan was league MVP. And now, is he going back to Indy? I don't know what his status is.
Maybe we got to get you more details on his shoulder, because that was the quote unquote reason they went to so they benched him for Sam Ellinger.
Is it?
Well, hiding behind health.
It's
always a topic, Doc. But
I mean,
it's just incredible that a year later the Niners are kind of in the same spot, because that's what made Jimmy Garoppolo untradeable, was the late shoulder surgery. And then whatever he would have get traded to, he wouldn't have been ready to learn a playbook. You're saying Brock Purdy, best case scenario, might be ready to expand the playbook in late July with
in training camp.
In training camp. But
yeah, that's best case scenario.
If the recovery goes into mid-August, late August, that's a real quick turnaround for the season.
Yeah. And, for a young quarterback, this isn't, Tom Brady. Oh, I know. I mean, look, Tom Brady taking 10 days off during training camp didn't mean the thing. Okay. I mean, that didn't mean the thing. Brock Purdy, I mean, remember, and I'm not trying to compare Brock Purdy to Zach Wilson. Remember when Zach Wilson hurt his knee this preseason, Saleh said, this is the worst time for him to have this injury. You would have thought he said during the season would be the worst time. The reason why I said it's worst time is you get way more snaps in the preseason and training camp than you do in the regular season. Because come regular season, Monday at best is a walkthrough corrections and some film work. Tuesday is an off day, guaranteed at least one a week. Wednesday, let's call it offense install, but you're installing that week. Thursday's defense, and Friday is situational and special teams. That's not a lot of practice reps in season. And that's why he said that about Zach Wilson. I'm not saying Brock Purdy is Zach Wilson.
Right.
But Kyle Shanahan wants to add stuff to his repertoire, right? And now you don't have the chance. So it's interesting. We'll see if the Matt Ryan thing, it was just a stab. I don't know his contractual status. I don't know if he's still with Indy. I don't know if he's available.
That's an interesting name.
He's still technically with Indy, but they can get rid of him easily.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's going to get cut, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I would think if he's not, I don't know when it's a 1-year deal. I don't even know what his deal was.
He's going to get the Derek Carr treatment.
Well, I mean, look, I don't know. Derek Carr's a different story. We'll get to that. But I guess Shane Steichen's going to get named head coach there.
Right.
Does he have a tie to Matt Ryan? I don't think so.
No,
I mean,
I think so.
I'm going to give you a hypothetical, and I'll let you guys vote. Justin can even vote if he wants. What is more interesting? The Colts out of the blue hiring Jeff Saturday with no coaching experience, but a Hall of Fame career and a lot of Colts ties. bringing him out of the blue in season. What's a bigger or eyebrow raise? That move with Jeff Saturday or hiring Shane Steichen, who is basically a protege of Frank Reich, the guy you just fired, who came to you from the Eagles as offensive coordinator. Now you hire the Eagles offensive coordinator that was a quarterback coach under Frank Reich.
He's running modified Reich system.
I mean, I'm just saying, what's stranger? What do you think?
That doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
What's stranger, Saturday or the link to Reich that they just fired?
Yeah.
I still think Saturday because like everybody's trying to get the guy that was underneath the guy to hire him because he knows what the main dude knows. They always try to do that, so that makes sense. That's why McVay's get hired. That's why all the Cliff Kingsbury.
No. I get the McVay's. I know Sean McVay, and you get hired. I get that, but you just fired. If you just fired Sean McVay, fired, not retired, fired him. Are you going to go get a Sean McVay protege as your new head coach?
Maybe he's cheaper.
Because we tried Saturday and we saw that it didn't work. So now we're going a new route. But
Saturday,
it's the old route.
I'm just asking the question. And I'm not saying Shane Steichen's a very qualified coach.
Right.
But, your last head coach was hired from the Eagles, who was the offensive coordinator.
Maybe Irsay's just tired of
Shane Steichen was on that staff. Now you go hire that guy?
Yeah.
It's just interesting to me. To me, it's as interesting as hiring Jeff Saturday. Now, notice I didn't say wrong.
Right.
I just said interesting.
Eyebrow raise.
Eyebrow raise. Not like, oh, that's dumb and it's a bad hire. I'm just, that's an interesting how
Chargers
that works.
Too, right? Shane does.
What's that?
He was on Chargers for a little bit. First started like 2011, I think.
With who?
11. I know he was with Ken Wisenhunt. That was a second stint though.
Who else was there? Frank was there too.
Yeah. Oh, he was. Oh, yeah.
There it is.
I forgot Frank was there. That's right. We brought him along. Yeah. He just went around.
Just saying.
I forgot Frank was there.
On the topic of telling us stuff that we didn't know, I didn't know you had to file papers to retire. I mean, it makes sense that you have to file papers with league office. Tom Brady said
business. It's a business, Jacob.
J.J. Watt said he didn't know you had to file papers.
And he said he wouldn't, right?
I think he alluded to that jokingly, maybe.
And now he knows he needs to, Doc.
Well, first of all, he needs to if he wants to go into the Hall of Fame.
Right, which is a key thing that you want.
Right, because that's how it starts your clock ticking for which Hall of Fame class you're in. You got to file retirement papers. And
he's going with Brady right now, though. Wouldn't you wait a year?
Oh, I don't know. Why does he mind going with Brady?
I don't want to go with Brady.
Offense, defense, doesn't matter.
I mean, look, Watt will always be a big name. Will he be the number one name? I don't know that he'll ever be the number one name, right? I mean, there's just so many offensive players, right? I don't know. I mean, he's a big name, huge name. But I'll guarantee you this. Watt may be right. He says, I'm never going to file papers, but his agent will.
Yeah, I was say he will.
It might be one of the papers the agent says sign here.
Maybe he already did. He just doesn't know. I signed a bunch of papers and he sent them in.
I probably should go full disclosure because I use my hand a little bit, and then you can. I wasn't trying to be weird, by the way. So I don't know if you guys saw this.
I'll put painted nail.
A painted nail. I don't know if you can see that.
It was on there. It's not focusing.
It's not focusing. It's too close. Well, he's the Super Bowl MVP. I was at an event during Super Bowl, and they had some activation things and whatever, and they said they could put Mahomes. I mean, I figured it'd be fun for my son, and he actually did like it, where I'd say Chiefs are number one and then show him Patrick Mahomes. And so it's still on here, I see, and I don't know.
It's like a baseball catcher. They paint their nails. You can do like you can have scouting reports on your fingernails now.
I got home early today and changed, did a Rich Gannon, and then came into the office here, and so I didn't find my wife's nail polish remover.
I think I saw a tweet earlier this week that Dan Orlovsky had his nails painted on Radio Row because he was playing with his daughters or something like that. So he had his fingers painted too. So not the only one.
Well, yeah, I did this of my own free will just to make my son happy, but he's 10. But I remember Phillip Rivers would be there and flip-flop sometimes doing an interview, and he'd be all squirmy about his toes, and then he'd reveal like, yeah, my daughter's painted my toes. Right. And so it's all good there. But speaking of Hall of Fame, I never knew the man. I know of him a lot. The eras didn't cross, but I'm glad that Don Coryell got in. I mean, he's the father. I mean,
Yeah.
of so many offenses and so forth.
Mhm.
I think that was overdue. I don't know if it's East Coast bias or this, that, the other, his West Coast offense stuff. I mean,
Little
Don
bit.
Coryell getting in, I think, was long overdue.
Who's
Who
someone
else?
that needs to go in the Hall of Fame that, or not needs to, that hasn't yet? What's the name in your?
Well, I mean, I'm glad John Lynch is in. He took a while, and it's kind of a weird way that he kind of was stalled out. I think he helped change the game, and so I think he belongs in there. And NFL Hall of Fame is different than baseball. Baseball is about longevity, and do you have 500 home runs, and do you have certain metrics? Terrell Davis' short career made it into the Hall of Fame, rightfully so, because he was the best at it. It's about your high point, not about, well, it's an analogy. It's about hitting 70 home runs, not hitting 700, right? I mean, like baseball, you can have a career guy who hit 30 home runs a year, never was in the top of anything, but he did it for 20 years. Now he's got 600 home runs or 500 home runs, 600 home runs. And you go, okay, you're in, kind of deal.
Right.
Football isn't necessarily like that for the most part. I think John Lynch deserved to be in, but believe it or not, I think his GM stuff at the 49ers helped him, whether it was media relations, people wanting, access to him or whatever, or keeping his name out there. But he deserves it 100%.
Yeah.
The other one, I'm glad Zach Thomas made it in.
I love Zach Thomas. My 5 years as a Dolphins fan, I remember Zach Thomas as a baby.
I mean, I'm a little different. I root for people. I think Zach Thomas was a dominant player in his time. And I had the fortune of meeting him through junior, and he's just a super nice guy. I mean, so I'm glad that he's in. I'm glad Joe Thomas is in because he's a super nice guy. But let me tell you, without his media career, I don't know that he gets in. Sure, he was really good for 10 years. That's like baseball. He's in 100%. Sure, he was an all-pro or a Pro Bowler for 10 years or so, but he was on the Browns, right? And so you don't have the shining moment. Like what they say in the Hall of Fame is when they make your bust, okay, they want your bust to be of your most dominant year. So J.J. Watt's bust will be one of the years he was defensive MVP.
Right.
That's the look that they'll go after, and the enshrinement. It's about the pinnacle. And Joe Thomas had a great career, but what's his pinnacle year?
I mean, how many offensive linemen have pinnacle years?
That's my point, though, right?
Yeah.
So
it's
but I'm glad he
longevity,
made it in. Is my point.
Yeah.
And I'm glad they have different perspectives, and I'm glad. I mean, I met him a couple years ago before he got his TV thing. He's just starting and trying, and he's done a great job. I'm glad the TV things helped him get into the Hall of Fame, I think.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not denigrating anything there.
Well, it's what you do within the years too, right? I know if you don't play 20, I'm going to bring hockey in this, but remember Bobby Orr, he played 10 years. He does have the defining moment, right? When he jumped over the guy, when he scored the overtime, when he goal, whatever. So you're right. You do need that. But is it also like within what you do, like his 10 years, he had played like 600 plus games. He scored like 900 points from a defenseman. So like those 10 years, that's Hall of Fame worthy, regardless if he played 20, right?
Yeah. I'll be honest. I don't know Hockey Hall of Fame and how they do it. I mean, I'm just saying, I don't know it.
Yeah.
Okay. But football has always been about the pinnacle years, and not necessarily the career achievement award. Baseball seems to be more about career achievement award than the pinnacle year. For example, okay, show my age. Fernando Valenzuela, he's not in the Baseball Hall of Fame, but I believe he would make a football Hall of Fame because he came on with such a splash and was dominant.
He was the
couple
best
years
player
and
in
then,
a 4-year, 5-year stretch. He wasn't another guy in those years, right?
He was so dominant, right? That
Yep.
Fernando Mania and all that stuff. I think
But Jamie Moyer gets in over him because the longevity and the
it's
numbers,
just different.
all that stuff.
It's just different. It's just different. Is all. I'm not saying one's better or worse. It's just different. But maybe they have different criteria for offensive linemen, which is good.
Yeah,
because you can't have the defining pancake in 1 year. You're not going to be offensive MVP. And I'm glad they recognize his longevity because his longevity career is amazing. Right.
Definitely.
So I was happy with those Hall of Fame people.
No, for sure.
I had to make sure my mind wasn't playing tricks on me, but Don Coryell, San Diego State, great. He had 2 stints head coach in there.
You didn't know that?
I knew that. I just didn't want to bring it up and be wrong. I was hesitant.
Wait a minute.
Well before my time.
Do you take his diploma, or what do we do here?
I had to mention it. I had to shout it out.
Well,
Don Corleone, Don Coryell. It's all jumbled up there.
Now Jacob's turning red because he realized he just stepped in it. But,
Yeah.
I mean, look.
Go ahead. I'll take it.
If you're an average undergraduate on campus now, I wouldn't expect you to know who Don Coryell was, or he went to San Diego State.
You're probably right.
Okay. You were the sports editor.
Yeah.
His picture is in your office somewhere.
I actually never was a sports editor.
Oh.
Who was his defensive coordinator? I'll give you $1 if you know who his defensive coordinator was.
You were a sports writer.
Who was his defensive coordinator, Jacob?
Don't know.
You've played this game before.
John Madden.
John Madden. Come on. I gave way too good.
There's a lot of people in his tree, but that's like someone today saying Tony Gwynn went to San Diego State.
I mean, not that bad. Come on.
It's close. Okay. There might be 2. Name the greatest coach of all time at San Diego State.
Steve Fisher.
That's why I said there might be 2.
Yeah. And Don Coryell.
Don Coryell.
Yeah. See, Steve Fisher comes up first in a lot of recent
SDSU
minds. I'm saying
it might be recent, Doc, because it was 61 right when he started. So I mean,
no, it's recency bias. But
86 was the last time he coached there.
Yeah,
I get it, but you had to look that up again.
He's an all-time great.
I didn't go to San Diego State. I'm not from San Diego. I've never even met Don Coryell.
Yeah.
I mean, he's long gone from the Chargers, but I hear people talking about him and whatever. And I knew San Diego State.
I'm Aztec basketball.
That's it. Okay. All right, let's go. Let's go a little deeper. Let's see if Taylor knows. Name another NFL head coach that was at San Diego State.
Like playing or coaching? Because playing, you
coaching.
got the Minnesota Vikings. You got the Minnesota Vikings guy.
Oh, yeah, Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah.
But once again, recency. Another NFL head coach that has the San Diego State roots.
Current coach, former coach.
No, you mentioned John Madden a little bit. Okay, but that's he's not a head coach right now today, but he's been a head coach for at least 3 different teams. Gosh, these young kids today.
Jim Mora?
I don't know if Jim Mora has any San Diego State ties.
I don't know why Steve Spagnuolo's in my head, but
there may be more than this, but Denver, Carolina, Chicago. Head coach. Name a head coach that crosses Chicago.
John Fox.
John
Fox.
Wow.
John Fox is San Diego State
really
ties. Yeah. Anyways,
it's your SDSU history lesson going on right now.
No.
we need to hit the books more. That's what it is.
It's called Young People.
He's giving us the lesson, which is the
I know exactly.
Yeah.
Let's talk basketball real quick. I want to get your thoughts real quick on the Gary Payton II drama and trade and all that stuff.
Okay.
So just a little bit of background. Warriors shipped James Wiseman out to the Pistons in a 4-team deal. They get back Gary Payton, give up 5 second-round picks, do the physical. He doesn't pass the physical because he has a core muscle issue that he had surgery for in the offseason. It's not all the way better, they're saying. Missed 35 games to start the year. He played the 14 of the last 17 Portland games. How did the Warriors not know about it? He came from the Warriors, signed a 3-year with Portland.
Well, he probably picked up injury with the Warriors, hypothetically.
Well, there's a lot to unpack here.
Yeah,
First of all, I get people are going to say pro football doc. I've dealt with basketball, Timberwolves, Bulls, but I don't have the full experience. So some of the stuff we say and do obviously comes from John Heffernan, who's the longtime Chicago Bulls doctor and Last Dance. And this situation has a lot of curiosities to me because he can't. First of all, it does go without saying that no trade is final, no signing is final until the physical is passed. Yeah. But when you have a 4-team trade, it mucks up a lot.
Yeah.
If the answer is we're not taking him. And do they not want him, or do they not want him at the current price because he has injuries? Core muscle injuries are imminently supposed to be fixable. So if they want him for the long term, they shouldn't worry about it. But if they wanted him for the short term in addition to the long term, they might have, quote, buyer or trader's remorse. And do they not like Wiseman anymore? Or?
No, Wiseman was a project. He's like a 5 to 6 year project that they don't want to do because then Curry and Thompson are going to be gone by then. So Gary Payton II was huge in the championship run last year. They got him back, probably expecting him to play this year and be huge.
How much longer does Draymond have?
I think he has a year left. Gary Payton has 2 after this year.
They just released Payton's going to miss about a month. So this was a long term. This wasn't a short term. You guys are trying to get at least the 6 to 8 seed. The Warriors haven't been as good this year. So this is a playoff move because they already said he's not going to play for the month. So they didn't need him directly now.
But what happens now? Does he get another surgery? Do you just rest it?
Well, you were saying that he's had a couple.
I'm going to follow up on that and get you more info because he said, it's been an issue for like 4 or 5 years or something. So maybe this recent surgery was to fix that, but I don't have the full details on that.
If it's been 4 or 5 years, the Warriors should have known about it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's even more toward that.
B, if he had an off-season surgery, I don't see how that doesn't come up in the discussion.
They do an exit physical too, so they didn't know he needed an off-season surgery. They probably did.
Well, and
when you're a free agent, Doc,
did Portland flat out lie and say he's got no issue, he's been now fixed?
That's what it looks
like. The Warriors are saying that they got told. That they lied to them.
But you just said
they just took it as
wait. He had off-season surgery and he missed how long?
35 games.
35 games.
And then recently he's been playing how many?
14 of the last 17.
Okay, so that's still not 100%, but he's still fresh off his recovery.
Right.
I mean, for them to say they didn't know anything about it doesn't seem reasonable.
Yeah.
For them to say they were misled about it, okay, maybe, right? Yeah. I mean, but to say they didn't know anything about it doesn't make any sense at all to me. But core muscle surgeries are pretty reliable, so I'm not sure why he's not doing well. It should be eminently fixable, but the question is when. So when's the deadline for them to accept him?
They already said it went through. Last night was the
deadline.
It
went through.
Correct.
Yeah.
And nothing changed.
They filed a thing with the league office saying they didn't disclose this, so they're going to dock them picks or change the price or something like that.
They're not
they can't change the price, actually, yeah.
What they're going to do is they're going to fine Portland if they find evidence.
The league will if they find evidence,
is final, though. They did not change the draft compensation at all, which I thought they would. Because if you're saying that if they were misled, they got like 4 picks. They gave a bunch of stuff, so they should be getting more back. But I guess if they're okay with just the NBA dealing with it,
it's not like they get fined a pick and it goes to the Warriors.
No.
So it's just, you're handling it internally.
The Warriors got what they got.
Nothing to do with
the Warriors got what they got, and now they're just whining that it could have should have been different. And it was unfair.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I always said about the whole who was coaching the Jets when they quote blew the whistle on Bill Belichick and stealing signs? I forget the guy's name.
Oh, the Browns guy, the former. Yeah, what was his name?
Yeah. I would have said, "Oh, you're stealing signs, and I know you are." I wouldn't blow the whistle on the league. I'd give my same signal, and that would mean cover 3. Meanwhile, it's an all-out blitz. I just change it up,
them, yeah.
right? And go on a key point in the game and go, okay, yo, you think you know my signs? Okay, I'd run the exact opposite of what I just signaled in, and let you steal my signs.
Yeah,
and then go, okay, here you go.
Use it to your advantage.
And I'd go, gotcha.
Yeah.
Try it again. I wouldn't complain to the league about it. If you know that they're doing it, you came from his staff, you know that they're doing it.
Right.
I don't know. Take care of things within the
Warriors were funny last night. They had Payton sitting next to the managers and the Warriors just to make it sure that they knew that the trade was good, I guess.
Yeah, they're not going back.
Well,
on it.
more basketball stuff. We've been doing it all along, but I think they'll obviously be more focused. And you see a court view over Jacob's shoulder there.
The shoulder.
That shoulder.
Yes.
Yeah, we got the latest on Zion. Jalen Brown going to play after All-Star break with a mask. Doesn't sound like they're considering surgery for Jalen Brown. And then KD, obviously, we'll see when he can join the Suns.
Zion's an interesting one to talk because you said when we did the insight, we've done a really good with their sick insights. We're getting top information right when it happens. The Zion thing happened yesterday that he had maybe a setback. You already said whatever timeline they gave, I think it was like we're going to reevaluate him 3 weeks. You said BS, it's way more than 3 weeks. So now whatever light ramp up that was started within that 3 weeks, he already picked up a setback, and now they're saying add a month to that. So it's already, like you said, in January that this is going to be more long term than was previously stated.
Yeah, I mean, timelines are always tricky, but when they give round number timelines and check back in, that's not set in stone.
Right.
It's no different than Brock Purdy. That's not set in stone. They hope to meet that, but that's not set in stone. And so, yeah, Sick Insights is where you want to go for all the quick twitch stuff, all the top basketball, football, baseball, injury updates. And so I had a lot of practice at this last week at Radio Row, and people said, "What are you doing?" I said, "We're the only site in the world that does true injury analysis, not injury reporting, and that being fundamentally different." And the Radio Row room understood that. I said, not only that, we do football, basketball, and baseball, as well as, Tiger Woods and anything else that comes up. And the final reference that I was surprised at how well it went is I said, our docs were in the room when it happened, referencing Hamilton. I was surprised how good a response it got, but not with you guys, because you guys don't like that. You guys don't.
I've seen it.
Did you get the reference?
Oh, I didn't get it. I didn't really listen to it when I went with my mom. It was more of like satisfying my mom to go.
And now we're back to Taylor not listening. So full circle.
That's how we started this podcast, isn't it? Taylor didn't listen. No, I mean, that's one of the big lines in the room when it happened, kind of deal. My kids watch it. Last year we went to New York. Yeah. That was the big surprise. We took them to Hamilton, but they've seen it dozens of times on Disney Plus and stuff. Yeah. That's where they have seen it. But no, and I think that in the end is our big differentiator. I mean, a lot of very qualified and good doctors, therapists, and other people, but our docs were former head team docs in pro sports, and we were in the room when it happened and had these discussions and looked at it. And that's what the unique perspective is to what we're doing.
Yeah, I just want to mention we'll be all over the NFL draft as usual too. Combines in late February. So another thing of you were in the room when those discussions happened on certain prospects and injuries and stuff like that.
I think I've been in 19 or 20 combines. I mean, I'm so old. I went to the combines when St. Elmo's was the only steakhouse there. Now Indy has grown a ton, and I resisted the urge to go back, but I told you maybe we need to apply for credentials. Yeah. Everyone says to me we should go, but if I go, look, if I went as a private citizen, I'm quite sure I could get back as a guest into the combine exam area, medical exam
I'd
area.
say. But then you
But
can't tell
that would be totally wrong for me to
Yeah,
do
you
that.
can't tell us.
I would not do that. If I went, I would stay outside of there. And if there's a media credential, whatever, just get the standard and not invade that. But even then, it's just kind of weird. Like, I feel like we're hanging on. Like, I mean, I'll know the other docs and whatever. We'll see. But everyone says it's good and I should go. And draft coverage is a big part of what we do.
Absolutely.
So we'll see about that. All right. Anything else? Or are we wrapping up the football season? But off season, there's a lot. We actually, I think, do better in the off season in some ways because in season, everyone's talking about football. And we call it signal to noise. And there's a lot of noise, so it's harder for our signal to be heard. But off season, not that many people, and injuries are a big part of the off season and the draft, and that's what we do well in and with insights. And so therefore, I feel like it's not bad still. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Like Justin Herbert, remember with his shoulder surgery. There's always going to stuff that's going to pop up like that.
There's always stuff going to pop up, but there's also going to be combine stuff like Justin Ross.
Yep.
And you guys are mentioning,
and then Hooker's coming back from the torn ACL. So there's
always there's always stuff going on. All right. Thanks for watching. Pro Football Doc Sports Injury Central podcast, watching and listening. And I think we're going to start guests next week, right?
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of scheduling them, etc. Actually, tweet at us or to the 6 Score account if you have suggestions for guests. We'll try and schedule them and get them on. I think that's probably one of the funner things in the off season, just to talk to some different people. In season for football, we really don't have time to, and we'll see. We'll try and schedule some of that stuff for some fun. For example, Dean Blandino has said that he would come on. You were asking me before I came out who's some of the more interesting people I ran into at radio. I mean, a lot of people. I mean, Cousin Sal is fun to chat
you
with.
Got the shout out, Cousin Sal.
Oh yeah, I guess he had a shout out on
with you, at the end.
On the Bill Simmons podcast. There were a lot of people. That's fun. Ran in, from McAfee to AJ Hawk and some fun people. Saw all the main reporters from Rap Sheet to Tom Pelissaro, Adam Schefter, Dan Orlovsky. This one might be a good one. So I went to pick up my son, unaccompanied minor, and at the airport, and he flew in. Mom, whatever, let him in. Put him on the plane. We never done that before.
How old is he?
10.
Yeah, I did that. I think I did at 8 or 9. Yeah, I remember.
Never done that before, and he was a little nervous. So then I thought he wasn't coming to the Super Bowl, and then of course it worked out. So I went and got him unaccompanied minor, and at the airport, I don't know if you can see this.
Oh, that's great!
Awesome, Von Miller. There you go,
Von Miller.
Yeah, and talked to Von Miller, and he said he'd come on the podcast. I didn't even think about it at first. I mean, I was just sitting there, and I saw him over there, and he had like a airline agent kind of sitting with him to keep people away, I guess. So I was a little bit like whatever, and my son wasn't there yet. He had to get there early. I just went up and said hello, and I said, Vaughn, we've met briefly before, but you won't remember, but this is kind of what I do. And he goes, oh, I've seen your videos before. I was like, wow, that's cool. I said, did you like him? Were we right? Or did you hate him? And he goes, no, you were right. And I told him about how prior to Sports Injury Central, I chronicled his 2013 ACL in the offseason, week by week, what his hypothetical rehab would look like. And he did not know about that, but I guess he saw some of the recent videos. And I said, yeah, I mean, your video looked like an ACL. I didn't want to be right about that, but obviously it is or was. And he goes, yeah, but we fixed it now. It's all good. And so I was like surprised that he had even seen the video or recognized it. Then I just let him go. And then I mentioned my son that Von Miller was over there when he landed. And he said, where? And I said, you want a picture? And so Von was nice enough. And then at that point I said, well, do you want to do a podcast? And he said he would. So we'll schedule it at some point in time.
He's very personable and fun. It seems like, very talkative. So that'd be good. And then he just had
he's super nice guy and mellow. I just don't like bum rushing people. Out, whatever. But anyways, but usually my secret to talking to anyone that I know, but I'm not sure that I really know who they are, at any of the functions or parties or Radio Row or Super Bowl, anything. And it's like, oh, I know so-and-so, but I look up on Twitter, and if they follow me, it's easy to go say hello. Everyone's very friendly. If not, I usually leave them alone. Although I did meet Boomer Esiason finally.
Oh, nice.
I actually went over to say hello to him because he had done that shout out about DeMar Hamlin and so forth. So I saw him on the CBS stage and waited for a break and just to say hello and thanks and name with face. And of course he was super nice and the whole deal, but I don't know. All in all, Radio Row was fun and interesting. I mean, I'm sure Vegas next year will be huge. But anyways, thanks for watching and listening. Plenty more on the Sports Injury Central podcast in the weeks to come, including guests, draft stuff, off-season football stuff, basketball stuff, baseball stuff starting
around the corner.
The corner too. All right. Thanks, everybody.